Okay, thank you, Dr. Varma, and hello, everyone. I am happy to be here, and I wonder, can you see my screen where it says Quality Matters Higher Ed Rubric 6th Edition? Are y'all seeing my screen?
Maybe I need to stop sharing and then you can. I'll stop sharing.
No, we're good. We got it.
You got it? Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Dr. Varma and the instructional designers have developed so many wonderful resources. And so I'm going to show you several that hopefully will help you as you plan for the fall, as you look at courses that you've taught online or face-to-face or hybrid or however. I think there'll be some good tools for you. The first tool is this Quality Matters rubric, which you've heard about Quality Matters for the last several years. But you may not have ever seen the rubric with all the annotations on it. Those annotations are what help you know what the components of the standards mean. And for example, we do have a one-pager for the rubric, and that's real helpful. But to me, as I've reviewed courses when I was a department head, I would review courses by that. But I didn't have these annotations. And so I didn't always really know what they meant, you know, in detail. So this is really good. It's several pages long. It's like 30 pages or something. I don't know. It's a bunch of pages. So there's a lot to it. But it's very, very, very helpful because it explains some of the details of the components. And you know, the whole process is to help you think through your course so that in the end it comes out as a quality course. Because they've helped all of us think through some of these details of what we know research says about the quality of an online program. So some of the simple things like, you know, if you need to have a welcome video, if you are going, you know, some sort of way to welcome students and to introduce yourself to the course. And then you want your students to introduce themselves to each other. Because what we're building are quality courses that are not correspondence courses. You know, that's what we don't want. We don't want to just people come in and they don't have any interaction with you or any interaction with each other. We want them to have a full experience and learn from each other. So much of those opportunities, we don't want those to be lost because they're online and we didn't think about in the design of it. So with this rubric, it helps us think through a lot of those things, like do we have those introductions and introductory videos and things like that we're probably doing already, but if you're not, it'd be something to add. And like this, just scrolling through it here, the standard 1.3 communication expectations for online discussions, email, and other forms of interaction are clearly stated. So again, that's just a reminder, something that you have, maybe having a statement in your syllabus that you go over at the beginning of the semester, or reminding everybody when you're having discussions, which you do, don't always have to do in face-to-face, but you usually do in online, where you're telling everybody what your expectations are. You know, let's all keep it nice. Let's, there's a particular way that we respond, you know, the netiquette idea, having that information out there. So a lot of this is definitely things that you're already doing. There may be some things that you've forgotten that you used to do. I was reviewing on one of my courses for this summer and realized that there was something that I used to do that I didn't do. It was not in the syllabus. I was like, where did that go? So this helped me when I was reviewing my course against the Quality Matters rubric. It helped me to see some things that maybe I was missing. So anyway, this is a great tool, so I would recommend that you look at it. But one of the other tools that's on that Omnet site is this tips to fulfill QM standards in your course that Dr. Varma talked about earlier. And this is a great tool because what she and the instructional designers have done is just really make a cheat sheet for that big rubric that's 30-something pages long. They've made a cheat sheet for you to think about with what standards. Now I'm down at 8, but let me go back to 1. So general standard 1, they are saying these are the things from that standard that you really need to have in your course. So so if and then do you want to have it in your face-to-face or online or hybrid? Because so many of those things are going to be exactly the same. You just may do them a little differently depending on the modality that you're using. So, but this is a great tool because it is a little shorter and allows you just to kind of go through it real quickly and see, you know, what do I have. And another tool that I hope I have here, yeah, that Dr. Farmer is going to put on OmNet for you is, hold on, I've got too many windows open. Is this, it's a course alignment table. Can y'all see that okay? I know sometime on Zoom I get things too small and you know you can't see it, but this is a course alignment template that that we created to go over courses. So this is one, this again is just a tool, you don't have to use it. This is one thing I use in my courses because part of the QM rubric that's or the QM process and the rubric that's very important is the alignment of everything. And so if you have standards for accreditation purposes that you're meeting in particular courses, or maybe you have a group of courses, like I'm thinking about the English Comp program, you know, they want English Comp 1 to accomplish certain things, no matter who teaches it. And then English Comp 2 has to do certain, you know, meet certain standards or objectives. And the same would be true throughout campus. So depending on who, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter who teaches the course, but in that particular course, these standards are going to be met. So for this one in particular, it's got, you know, the time frame, so you have to think through, do I want my modules to be weekly? Sometimes I'll do a course and it's weekly. Every week something opens up, but then sometimes I'll do modules, and one module might be 2 weeks, one module might be 1 week, one module might be 3 weeks. So it would depend. So you kind of have to decide that, but the course level objectives have to have module or week level objectives that correspond or align to that course level objective. So in this case, ISTE is the accrediting body for instructional technology. So we have all these standards, that ISTE standards that we are meeting, but we're meeting them with our own module or week objectives. So in this case, by the end of the module, so I'm going to ask that module, I'm going to have some specific objectives for that module. By the end of this module, what do I want students to be able to do? It has to be measurable. So that's what QM is looking at with when your course is reviewed. Is that measurable? You know, and sometimes like the course I'm teaching this summer, I've got some students in it that have, one student made her objectives very teacher oriented, you know, said what she would do. Well, that's not the objective here. You need to figure out what your students should be able to do so we know they're measurable in the end. And then you can see like assessments, instructional materials, course activities, course tools, all of those things correspond or align to that, these objectives, the course level and the module level objectives. So that's a huge part of QM, because if those aren't aligned, then basically the review of your course cannot continue. It has to stop until those get aligned. So in this case, this table has been real helpful to me as an instructor, because I can pull those objectives. What do I want them to be able to do by the end of this? It keeps it very, very practical. And okay, how am I going to assess that? If I want them to do something, you know, I've got to have a way to assess where they did it. And then how am I going to get them there? So what kind of instruction, what kind of teaching do I need to do that will help them get to that? And then what activities am I going to use? So in a face-to-face class, you might do a lecture for 10 minutes and then say, okay, we're going to do pair and share, or we're going to get in groups and do this and that. And then we're going to come back and lecture for another 10 minutes. Well, it won't look exactly like that in an online course, but you can do something very similar. You might have a screencast or some sort of video or voice thread where you're lecturing on something, presenting new material to them for 5 or 10 minutes. And then the next slide might be, okay, now I want to hear what your experience is with X, which is something you just covered. And you might have them interact that way. In groups, you might have them on VoiceThread interacting. So you've got to figure out what course activities you can use, what tools you'll use. You're going to use VoiceThread, or you're going to use podcasts, or you're going to use screencasts. You're going to use, some of the many tools that are out there. So this just helps you to plan as you're getting your course ready, or as you've got a course ready, you can fill it out and see what you're missing. Because one of the things that we found when we went through the Quality Matters training was part of that training was we had to review other people's courses, not each other's courses, but they had other university courses from out somewhere in the United States. They had these courses, and so we reviewed those, and we found some of them weren't aligned. We couldn't figure it out. Like, why do you have this assessment? There's an assessment out there. Maybe there's a paper out there, but we couldn't tell, that research paper, what it assessed. There was no objective, or there were wonderful objectives, but the assessments didn't match those objectives. So it's very, very helpful to use this for existing courses and just sort of test yourself. What do I have? And then it's also very helpful for building a course as you think through the course that you're going to use. The course I'm doing this summer, I used this to help me make sure I was on track and get started with it. And then, of course, I changed it as I went along. So this is a great tool if you want to use it, and that'll be on OnNet. And that's something that as you're being reviewed in the future, your online course is going to be reviewed. So this is one of the things that they don't necessarily, the instructional designers may not use this table, but they will be using something to make sure that everything's aligned. So it's good to have clear expectations before you start something, so you won't be surprised in the end if something didn't align, because this is what it would do. Okay, so, and this is what I did for my course this summer. I'm not going to go over that and bore y'all with that. So another tool that is one of the things that's been most helpful for me is the Quality Matters self-review tool.